Welcome, folks. This is House Corrections and Institutions Committee for this Thursday, April 16th. We have with us Representative Pritchard that's going to introduce constituents who wants to share life situation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Identify yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair Emmons, and thank you, committee, for giving us this opportunity. For the record, my name is Chris Pritchard, representative from the Rutland Bennington District. And I represent the towns of Timoth, Middletown, Rupert, Wells, and Middletown Springs. And I have a constituent with me today that I'd like to introduce to you. I actually wrote at her request, drafted a bill which you allowed me to present in this committee. And I had asked for the chance for her to give her story. I think it's powerful. I think it needs to be heard. She's put a lot of work into these books that I've given today, and I don't think she'll get the opportunity, perhaps, but time will allow to go through these. I would really appreciate it if you took the time to go through these. And she has her thoughts in it, some pictures. The last part of the section is actually the person that took her husband's life, criminal record, before this happened. I wanted her to have the opportunity to speak to all of them. So it's my great pleasure to introduce you Tammy Carboni from Timoth, Vermont.
We call it the hot seat, but it's not really a hot seat.
Thank you very much.
So Tammy, if you could introduce yourself for the record.
Absolutely. My name is Tammy Carboni. I live in Timoth. And I really appreciate all of your time. I know you guys are super busy. I will not keep you for very long. Just want to get through my little spiel. I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to be here today. I'd also like to thank Chris for working as hard as he did to introduce Bill H-252. 2021, when the original blanket good time to earn bill was established, I had a lot of mixed feelings. I thought it was a positive motivator for folks who made a mistake and needed a reason to stay out of trouble in jail. What a better reason than 25% reduction in a person's sentence? What I didn't understand at the time was that everybody qualified. Murderers, child molesters, career criminals, everybody. Should victims have been able to testify before this was passed? Absolutely. But it was kept pretty quiet. Not too long after that, there were exemptions added, a few exemptions. My husband had been dead for 5 years at this point. A heinous, preventable crime committed in my tiny town of 554 people by a career criminal. 5 years of hell. 5 years of navigating through life without my soulmate. I know we're not here to talk about the tiny details of Leo's death, but I'll give you guys a brief summary. On April 22nd, 2016, I came home from trailering livestock at about 8 p.m. I was told by a state trooper that my husband had been hit by a truck and didn't survive. We lived on a dead-end dirt road. No way this was real. I figured it was an equipment accident. That was believable. A heart attack, believable. Asthma attack, believable. But not hit by a truck. I'd also spoken to my husband about 7. We kept in touch all day, communicating at least with 5 to 6 phone calls. And he had just started milking his cows. Something obviously was not right. Thankfully, our security camera footage was reviewed by the state police, and it was confirmed that the person who took the blame for this accident was lying, and the true criminal was her son. I've supplied everybody with his record. At the end of the binders, the last 33 pages are his record. Lisa Veldy, his mother, told police she was driving. Once the footage was reviewed, the police finally got the truth out of her. She told them she didn't want her son to go back to jail, her 41-year-old son. He disappeared for 3 days. Once he was found, of course, lie after lie was spewed from his mouth. Again, security camera footage told the truth. Leo had put 10 cows in the parlor, walked up the driveway. The video shows him walking to the mailbox, got struck by the truck. His boots went flying off and he landed 500 to 600 feet down the road. Tom Velde got out of his truck, pulled his body out from underneath the front of his truck, and threw him on the side of the road. He was sentenced on July 27th, 2018 to 19 to life, leaving the scene of an accident, death resulting, and gross negligent operation, also death resulting. Because of his 33 misdemeanors and 9 felonies, his habitual offender status played a role in his sentence. Mr. Velde had no license at this point for 16 years because of all of his DUIs. Neighbors called the state police about his erratic driving. The Rutland County Sheriff lived down the same road that Mr. Velde drove down every day, multiple times. A Rutland City detective lived around the corner from Mr. Velde, and the town had a constable who was also best friends with Mr. Velde's grandfather. He also resigned not long after Leo's death. And actually, to add insult to injury, he paid the town taxes for Mr. Velde and his mother, Lisa, while they were both in jail. My husband's death was 100% preventable. Leo and I had spoken to the constable a number of times. Nothing was ever done. If one of these public safety officials had done their job, my husband would probably still be alive. I found out Mr. Velde was pulled over 3 nights before Leo's death by the Rutland Sheriff's Department. My attorney asked for dash cam footage and was told, sorry, it rolls over after 24 hours. It's unavailable. After Velde was sentenced, I had a bit of relief until the first appeal came, denied. Then the second ridiculous attempt, denied, and it just continued. In 6 days, my husband will be dead for 10 years, and I'm still in court. This last-ditch effort is a lawsuit against the state of Vermont in civil court for a new trial. Imagine my surprise when I learned that my sweet husband's killer qualified for good time earned because his charges didn't fall under the less than handful exemptions. How the hell could he qualify? He threw my husband's dead body on the side of the road and disappeared for 3 days, allowing his mommy to take the blame for his crime. Talk about adding insult to injury. I really tried to understand why the exemptions were so limited and only added after so many victims opposed the blanket approach. I'm a believer that there are such good people out there, including all of you, who jump into politics and want to make a change. But I think, like folks who work at a slaughterhouse, human nature becomes numb to the job, and everybody just goes through the motions. They're not just words on a piece of paper, they affect human beings. And in this bill's case, it's not about budget, it's not about public safety. It's not about budget, it's about public safety and peace of mind for victims. I know this bill is dead, I accept that. I just don't understand why. I'm not sure if any person here has had to be the victim of a violent crime. I hope for your sake you never are. 45 minutes is not nearly enough time to navigate you through the new normal of my life, my PTSD, money concerns, anxiety to the point I can't leave the farm or drive days some days, and the physical toll it's taken on me. But I'd like you to at least keep the binders, go through them, take a peek at them. That's my new reality. Thank you again for your time. I know your job is not easy, but please do better for victims. We truly do feel forgotten. And I will answer any question you guys have about my life now, because it's not very pretty.
I want to thank you for being able to come up here today.
I appreciate your time very, very much. I know how busy every committee is.
I just don't even know what questions to even ask. I'm curious, what is his sentence?
19 to life. The DOC website is very, very difficult to navigate. It tells you his release date, but then you have to go back by yourself and figure out how many good time days he's actually earned.
So, yeah, so the 19 to life,
That's 25. 25 in Vermont.
When he was charged, what was he charged with? And then when he was convicted, what charge was that?
They charged him with a number of things. They compromised on the 2 major felonies, leaving the scene of an accident, death resulting, and then, forgive me, I forget the second one. It's like vehicular negligent. Yeah, it wasn't homicide, but negligent, something also death resulting.
So what was the final conviction?
Those 2.
Those two.
They eliminated the drunk driving or OUI because multiple witnesses came forward and said they saw him pop pills, they saw him drink, they saw him do all this stuff. He had no license for 16 years because he had too many DUIs. So they eliminated those 2. And driving without a license, OUI, and there was a third misdemeanor one that they excluded as well, compromised for these 2.
And I'm assuming you work with the victim advocate within the state's attorney's office.
I do.
Have they been helpful?
I think they are as helpful as they are financially backed. And there's not a lot. When everything first happened, I still have the farm. I work like a 50-year-old man, 7 days a week, 15, 16 hours a day. I learned how to drive tractor. I learned how to do hay. I had to. It was the only way I was going to be able to keep the farm. And every day I worry about money. So I looked up programs that were available. There aren't many. Then I looked up programs that were available for inmates. I didn't have enough time to read them all. And that's not balanced at all.
So did the victim advocate through the state's attorney's office, did they help you through the process at all? Did they?
They did. They explained everything step by step.
So you felt
100%.
you felt you had a partner, you had support.
Absolutely.
So so we have a system within DOC that's called the victim notification system.
Mhm. Vans,
Fines.
vines, yeah.
How are you finding that system? I know you said the DOC webpage is really difficult to deal with.
I find it useless,
The Vines or the DOC webpage?
the vines. I get an email
Okay,
when something changes. They relocated him because his mom was having trouble driving to Newport and they requested that he be closer. So they actually relocated him to Springfield to accommodate his felon mother. I got an email that went into my spam file and I got it weeks and weeks and weeks later.
so you've opted in
Mhm.
to be notified.
Yes, I have, from the beginning.
Yeah, how often are you notified? Is it like every month or is it just when there's changes?
Only when he moves.
Because
Correct.
we've been working a lot on the victim notification system. We're trying to make that friendlier.
I think just from a personal standpoint, I think that if it's possible to get software that can text the victims, everybody has a phone. Phone call, half of my property is a dead zone, but I do get texts.
Do get texts.
I think texting is just today's communication. Unfortunately, I like speaking with people, but for the most part, everybody just texts.
So we've been working on that a lot, so it's good to have some input.
Sure.
Some questions, comments, Joe?
But this, Mr. Velde here is a poster child, for why there probably should be some added exemptions from earn time. I mean, the individual who clearly just doesn't get it. It just keeps going back and committing more crimes and probably, should not be eligible for earn time based on his career here.
I know he's probably grandfathered in at this point. But if it prevents one person from having to have the same reaction I did when I found out 25% of his sentence is going to be scratched right off the top for acting like a human being.
Have you, do you also receive notice that when a person doesn't get their earned time that month?
No,
You don't receive, so you don't know if he's even received it because,
I can only tell what I have to do is go to the release date, divide that into so many days from the day he was sentenced in July of 2018, add those days up, subtract that release date on the website from the total days, and that's how I figure out how many
so
days he's
has there
earned.
been any blips in that, or is it been pretty consistent that he's earned those 7 days a month?
Oh, no, he's earning them. Yeah.
So when he was sentenced, had he been detained for a while? Was he incarcerated?
They arrested him and they did not release him.
So how long was he incarcerated before he was sentenced?
2.5 years.
So that was taken off of his sentence.
Correct.
And so the minimum was 19 years. The
Correct.
maximum is life. So at 19, whenever he reaches that minimum, he would qualify for release, doesn't mean he will be.
Correct.
So it's clear on things. And
Having 3 escapes on his record, that's one of the things, he's a habitual offender. 3. It's not comforting for me at all.
so have you worked at all? Just trying to think this through. For when he is eligible for release, when he meets his family, have you worked? Just trying to think, would it be with your victim advocate within the state's attorney's office to weigh in whether he should be furloughed or paroled when he meets his minimum? Because I know he was going to be paroled, there would be a mechanism. I'm not quite so sure with furlough what that mechanism would be. Have you researched that?
No,
I just.
I have 152 acres. I have 30 cows. I have 25 horses. I have 200 acres of hay to do. I have all my equipment to get ready this time of year. I'm lucky if I get a shower every day. No joke. Like, it's really not a joke.
I'm just wondering if I'm just not sure with furlough.
I suspect once the time comes closer, yes, I will definitely, buckle down and work with the appropriate people and figure out what's going on. And he's threatened me in jail. He's told other inmates and folks that, do I believe he'll do it? Absolutely. If he's going to go back to jail, he's going to go back with a bang. He can't not be in jail.
Yeah, I just want to make sure your voice is heard when it's time that he would be eligible for it. It doesn't mean he will be released.
Right.
But I would just want at that time that there's an avenue for your voice to be.
Oh, indeed, it will be heard. Yes.
Breaks for you. What would you like to see changed? Simplified in my layman's terms, what would you love if you had a magic wand? What would you change with the experience that you've had?
Definitely the last 10 years, but we can't go back. As far as going forward, perhaps maybe a few more exemptions. I'm not against this. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I have plenty of family members myself who have gone to jail. Some have chosen to better their lives. Others have chosen not to. And that's on them. That's not on anybody else. But maybe add a few more exemptions for cases like this. He slipped through the cracks because he wasn't charged with the 3 additional things that came with this blanket rule that passed. I have no problem with the rule. I have a problem with a career criminal like Mr. Velde earning good time behavior. It's ridiculous. And I don't think that was the intention when the law was made. I think it was all good things. but there are these, these folks that are out there. And I don't think there are a lot of them in the state, but they're there. And they cannot, I don't know, like, I think Chris had a great idea. 2 or more felonies, you don't qualify. Maybe habitual offenders don't qualify. Some sort of wording that it's fair to the victims that, you're paying attention.
Anything other than tightening up the earn time program?
I think that there should be, I think the victims advocate groups are kind of forgotten about too. I really do. And I understand there are big priorities in this state right now. Lots of more important things, but it needs to be addressed. It should be very important.
More important. So those are 2, and I heard both of them.
Mhm.
If there's another one, I would be interested in hearing.
At least I didn't think I'd be asked this question. I don't know, I just feel like the whole thing, I think I never followed politics until this happened. And then I'm sure you hear that a lot.
You're lucky.
Then I started, really following these cases and how rules were slowly changing, where it used to be, 1 DUI or 2 DUIs was a felony. Now it's a misdemeanor. Now it's 3 DUIs. That's a felony. I understand we can't throw everybody in jail. The state can't afford to throw everybody in jail. I get that part. But if there are no consequences, things don't change. And I think we're so lackadaisical with criminals in general. And, personally, I do think it all trickles down to the drug epidemic that we have, for sure. I don't know how to break the cycle. That's what you guys are here
No,
for.
we don't know. It's not going to
It's really difficult,
take money out of it.
but these are such important issues and it just gets, I've spoken to other victims, they're just tired. They're tired, they don't have the energy to fight.
I just want to assure you that here in this community, we do hear from the victim community. We've been doing that, we've done that right along. So I just want to assure you that.
I appreciate that.
Troy and then Connor?
Thank you for being here. Appreciate hearing from you. As you were talking about potential exemptions, right? The bill suggests 2 or more felonies. You also suggested possibly habitual offenders might be included in that. And that's my question. Did he lose? Did they drop his habitual offender? I see the motion, but I can't.
He lost.
He did, okay. So he's
That
still-
went to the Supreme Court. That was in January.
And he's still considered a habitual offender.
He is still considered a habitual offender.
Okay.
And, sadly, whether they found that clerical error
Right.
from 14 years ago or 20 years ago, whenever it was.
Yeah.
There were others to choose from. He didn't just
Okay.
have 2 habitual offenses.
That was my question.
Yes.
Because I just wanted to get a sense on how easy or hard it is to have that removed once it's been applied.
No,
Given if, we consider whether or not that should be
Right.
a new exemption. Yeah.
No, the Supreme Court denied the motion to exempt that habitual offense in his conviction.
Yeah.
Or his sentencing.
Yeah.
Had they done that, it would have eliminated his sentencing. We would have either had to have gone back to court and gotten another sentence, or they tried to barter for time because he had served so many,
Do you have any sense of how often people do have their habitual offender status dropped?
No, I do not. I never, this is all new to
Right,
me
yeah.
in the last 10 years. I learned way more than I
I'm not
ever
suggesting you
wanted.
should.
No. Learned way more than I ever wanted to about the judicial system.
Okay. You said that what's the new court date coming?
So that hasn't been determined. We did our pretrial conference hearing and the public defender asked for another year, to which the retort of the judge was, no, we've been here for 10 years.
It's the motion.
Oh, he'd like a new trial, please.
Oh,
In civil court.
I think you said.
Oh, it's
Yeah. Civil court. not criminal court. If they get the new trial, then of course it goes back to criminal court in Rutland. So the judge said you have till June 1st. June 1st, I want to hear arguments. You're not getting a year. This has been 10 years. He was pretty perturbed, actually. And at this point, I can't really blame the court system.
So,
Hang on.
Okay. okay, sorry.
Tammy, I don't have a ton to say, but I want to thank you for your courage coming in today. It's, you're right, we're busy, but we should never be too busy to hear from you, and your story sort of takes it off the page and it becomes very real. So I just want to thank you so much. Nobody can imagine your pain around the table here.
I appreciate that.
I also want to show you the respect to tell you that I was not supportive of this bill. The reasons being, I think we strive to keep a safe environment within the walls of the prison too. And I personally have seen this as a tool to do that. And, we've also heard studies about recidivism rates, but I do want you to know I'm having trouble reconciling some of that with the pain I'm hearing from you. And I just want to let you know, and I respect this committee so much too. I'm going to read this whole thing and give it some thoughts, and just want to have the door open to talk to you going forward on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tammy.
Thank you.
So, thank you. I actually did sign on the bill. Because it's not surprising where you're coming from. I love my wife, and if someone took her out at the mailbox, I can only imagine how that would feel. And it was someone who had been doing this over and over his whole life. It's not hard for me to share where you're at. But it sounds like to me that you've also been tortured by the process of not just losing your husband, which is brutal and heartbreaking, but it sounds like not just the fine system that we are trying. Trust me, we've been talking about it a lot, and this is only my second year, because it sounds like it's so frustrating for us. I can only imagine how it is to be on the receiving end of it. But so it sounds like, like this person, he's able to just keep asking for new trials and bringing you back into this.
It hasn't ended for me.
I can see that. And I can
Years
hear
later.
that. Wow. Anyway, that's illuminating for me too. So I am, I got to kind of wrap my head around that. Did you deal with Judge Tor at all? So
I don't think so.
I just see her name on one of these.
Oh, that was one of the appeals that she actually, before it went to the Supreme Court, she was in civil court in Rutland. And she agreed that the habitual offender should be knocked off his sentence. So that's why and the state's attorneys came. They had a different view that ended up in Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court denied it.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for
Yes.
being here.
No, I did not personally deal with her.
Yeah, okay, just wondering. All right, that it's just helpful and thanks for putting all this together, because this is super helpful.
Well, then Kevin.
You want to go first, Kevin?
No.
Tammy, I one thing that you said in your statement that really got to me, because it's not just you that said this, is that this bill's dead and that the process isn't working. And this bill has been on our wall for over a year. And I feel that there's a small minority of people in this building that will not hear people like you and make this happen. And I will be honest, I'm fed up with that in general, both in this committee and in other committees. So I'm actually going to just say that we move to vote on the bill, vote on H252, because I feel like we don't have data for why this policy went into place. I don't think that we have data to explain why it should not change. So I'm going to move that the committee vote on H252.
I think we all take a deep breath here.
I feel like we've taken a deep
I
breath
think
for
we-
about a year, so I'm going to move that we vote on H 252. And if there's a second, we'll vote on it, but if there's not, then that's okay.
So we are at the end of a legislative session. Any bill that's dealt with now goes nowhere, because we're at the end of the session. And I know we're in a very emotional timeframe right now. And I would ask that people just take a deep breath and think this through. So Kevin.
I don't want to throw salt in the wound, but I, for my own understanding, not only you spent lots of time since your husband's death, but you probably spent a lot of money to go through this process or not. Did it cost you financially? It's not, you're running a farm now, I understand that, but
Correct.
you have to pay for lawyers, et cetera, to represent you, or I don't,
Well,
I don't know the system well.
I didn't sue Tom Beldy. The DA's office sued Tom Beldy. So financially, besides stuff like, I don't know how to fix a tractor. My
No, I
husband
understand
did that. So there were a lot of different little, there was actually a lot of money that went out because he did it. The man could do everything. I don't know how to drive a tractor before 10 years ago. So I'm pretty good at it, which I didn't think I would be, but no, financially, it's, there's one salary, there's one income now instead of two, because I also do equine rehab.
Right.
And, during the winter, that was my good time. The cows were off of grass, so their quantity went down. During the summer, the quantity went up. They were out on grass, and all of my rehab horses went home. It all balanced. So now that's not the case. So I might, I stayed organic. I'm still raising replacement heifers. I'm still doing equine rehab. I'm still trailering animals, just to pay my bills, pay my mortgage.
Yes.
So no, attorneys did not cost me anything.
Okay.
Long answer,
Wanted to ask that question.
but it's a trickle down effect
Oh, I'm not,
for sure.
I'm not saying that justifies anything. I just
Correct.
wanted to understand whether, because it sounded to me like it took 5 years for justice to be.
2.5.
2.5 years.
July of 2018, he finally got sentenced. Because his attorney kept just, we'd literally get dressed and go to court and his attorney would cancel. So, just the mental toll of that, you mentally prepare for it. Oh, it gets canceled. Maybe next week. So,
Thank you.
welcome.
Again, I'm so sorry for these circumstances while you're here today. And I appreciate you having the strength to talk. You have indicated that he has, and I know usually the courts illegally, they'll say, someone can say anything, but have the threats against you or that he's delivered to other folks within the facility, has that been discussed all with the attorneys or in any of the court cases, or just because he has just said it and hasn't acted on his threats, it doesn't get discussed?
Does not get discussed. And yes, it was, a couple years after Leo got killed. So, he was still pretty angry, still playing the victim. Was quiet for a little while, then, just continuously just plays the victim in jail. And here we are in civil court 10 years later. Indeed. I'm very lucky. I have a lot of, good friends and family but I'm from Rhode Island. Like, they're not here. They were here initially, but now I rely on my friends and everybody came and milked the cows until I sold them. I had to sell them. I couldn't do everything. So I am very lucky from that aspect. But yeah, it's taken a toll. For sure.
Very much.
And I see like the light at the end of the tunnel and then, oh, here's another appeal. I didn't even know it was legal to appeal that many times. I mean, hey, The attorney's job is to be crafty and to get somebody out of the situation that they're in. So kudos to the, public defenders in Vermont because they're doing it
We're all,
and you're all paying for it.
all that includes you.
Indeed. So,
What a sad situation.
no, his family, they pulled some stuff at first. Unfortunately, he had a history. He's pretty much stolen from everybody in the community. I mean, he stole cherry trees that were cut down. Cherry trees. So I don't know why. Mental illness, I'm not really sure. But his family for 3 days stuck to the story, all 15 of them. They were not going to rat him out. Every one of them. Until, those pesky security cameras. The reason we got the security cameras is he stole from us. So they would do stuff like leave stuff on my porch. They insisted on a reenactment and bring the truck up in front of my farm, the whole reenactment, to which I assured the state police that was not going to end well. With the family there, they wanted to come up and watch. They went online and, did great, whatever. I don't care about social media. If you want to say stuff about me, that's fine. I don't care. My husband, nicest guy you've ever met in your life. So yeah, for about a year and a half, driving by the house. I live on a dead end, just like a 3-mile loop and then back. Well, I'm not leaving. I'm not afraid of any of them. And they quickly learned that. So.
There's a motion.
I think folks really need to think of the time of the session that we're at. Bill is we're done crossover. Crossover is to allow time for the other body and taking testimony to go out on a bill that we have been taking a testimony on. Why not do that as a committee? Well, I know this is really emotional for folks. But that's why I said just take a deep breath, think it through. Because we haven't even looked at really the market, and I know it hits folks in a real emotional way.
We've had a year to take testimony on this, and that is what is frustrating about this, is that we've delayed the process to this point. And we knew there was a deadline for this well over a year ago, and here we are. That's why I made the motion. So I would love a second if there's a second, but if there's not, then
I'll second it. Let's take a recess. We're gonna take a recess, close the lunch.